Bitcoin made a huge move up to start the week, but was rejected just above 40,000, right around resistance. Bears started to get euphoric, but bulls are pushing once again. We're going to take a look at the chart and all the news driving markets and see if we can figure out where Bitcoin is likely going next. Let's go. What's up, everybody? I'm Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets. Before we get started, please subscribe to the channel and go ahead and hit, poke, tap, punch, smash that like button right down below. Now, as I mentioned before, the week opened with a massive bullish move to the upside, a quick candle of around $4,000. It was really nice to see this volatility and some meaningful price action to the upside. But again, it was coming into resistance in the 40 to 42,000 area, and bulls got euphoric at resistance. Of course, then bears punished them, pushing price a bit back down, but now bulls are pushing once again. Let's take a look at the chart on all different time frames and see if we can figure out what is coming next. Now, I've talked about the monthly here. We have 4 days and 9 hours left as I'm recording this, so too early to tell, but it does look like it's holding the EQ of this ascending channel as support as of right now. We'd like to see it close a little bit higher, but we have 3 candles in a row with clear demand, wicks down on all 3 of these candles, which is exactly what you want to see. If it holds the EQ here of support, that's this ascending dash line, you would expect a trip to the top of the channel. As absurd as that sounds, that's how we start to get these crazy targets in the $160, $190, $200,000 range. It's simply technical analysis. When you zoom out, if you hold support at the EQ of the channel, you should target the top. Taking a quick look at the weekly chart, we have a beautiful hold of the 50 MA right here. That's that blue ascending line on the weekly. A lot of people were saying that it was lost, but clearly it was at support, and you can't judge the candle until it's closed. Yes, it was trading below, but it closed well above. Beautiful bullish engulfing hammer candle and continuation thus far this week, although way too early to tell. As you can see here on the daily, we have this descending blue channel that I've talked about so many times. Well, price was squarely rejected with this huge wick up to end the day yesterday, as we all saw as bears got euphoric. But it's nice to see some real follow through today, pushing back up again into resistance, and volume is still much higher than it's been in general. We're just over halfway through the day, and maybe we'll get another sizable volume candle. At the end of the day, we want to see a break through this, but really a break above the 42,000 level, which was the key high on the move up from 20,000 and was the key level that broke before price started ranging around here, looking for a new direction. Now, this is also the daily chart. Looking at the B bands, I talked about it a few times. I wanted to just give you guys an update. December 20, bands were tight. April 21, bands were really, really tight. And now through July of 21, we had bands really, really tight. These were 3 times that it's gotten this tight, and each time that has led to a volatile, explosive move. That's what happens when B band's tight. It leads to volatility, but doesn't tell you necessarily which direction. December was up. April was down. Well, now we have a clear direction and it is up. We should see continuation. And usually when the price gets out over its skis here, over the bands, you see continuation. You can see right here, price got out over the bands and then trailed it up and remained over the bands. On the drop here, it got below and continued down. This is a very bullish thing. And when people were pretty depressed last week, I said, listen, we're holding support at the bottom of the bands here. That should mean we bounce to the top. Well, now we're breaking above the top and should continue up now that we have a clear direction for that volatility. Looking here at the 4-hour chart, price came right down and tested this local support before bouncing nicely, and it did so with hidden bullish divergence here on the 4-hour, which is a signal of likely continuation. RSI on the 4-hour chart hit about 87, the highest that it has been this entire year. Bitcoin was overbought on every time frame from the 12-hour down. It needed that drop to reset RSI a bit and give some room to breathe. The daily still has a long way it can go up, and it can stay overbought for quite a long time. Nice to see this reset and a bit of hidden bullish divergence. Very funny, price came down to around 36,345 on the drop. I had identified this area around 36,000, the EQ of this channel, as a likely buy area. And as I always say, never set your buy orders in one place. Spread them out because you often will get front run by whales. Well, if you were looking for 36, what'd you get? 36,400 of course. Bottom line right now, things continue to look very bullish after the sizable move to start the week. I'll be watching that monthly close very closely to see if it does close above the EQ of that ascending channel that we've been watching, this one right here. But at the end of the day, we're looking for a target of the top of the range now that we've flipped this EQ. That would be between 42,000 and 43,000 here, and bullishness really doesn't start until we are above those levels. This is very encouraging, but we are still below resistance. Do not get cocky. Do not get euphoric if you are a bull. Let's take a look at all the news that is driving markets today. Goldman Sachs files with SEC to create a DeFi and blockchain equity ETF. First, let's not miss the irony of the fact that a huge centralized bank is looking to capitalize on decentralized finance through a centralized ETF on the stock market. But let's put that aside. This is not really a DeFi and blockchain equity ETF. They're talking about investing in companies that lightly touch on the DeFi space, but certainly not the ones that we are familiar with. I even saw names like Microsoft being part of the ETF floated. So I don't think this is exactly what it says. And I think that much like companies just adding blockchain to their name in 2017, like Long Island Blockchain Iced Tea or whatever that was, they're trying to capitalize on the name DeFi here to attract attention. Still always interesting to see the big banks starting to talk about crypto and DeFi. Next, Tether executives said to face criminal probe into bank fraud. Now, this is one more attempt at major FUD against Tether, but understand this is against the executives themselves, not necessarily against the company. When you read into it deeper, it's about the fact that they did not tell banks potentially in the early days, many years ago, that the money they were borrowing was being used specifically for crypto. It does not mean anything about Tether itself being funded correctly or whether Tether is at risk. It means that these executives may have been a bit dishonest about what they were using their loans for. It's still problematic and worth watching, but I think we all know at this point that Tether is safe and is not going to rock the market. Elon Musk's Tesla holds its 1.3 billion Bitcoin position in Q2. Tesla ain't selling. We all knew that. Elon Musk came out flat and said it just the other day last week. He said, Tesla owns Bitcoin, SpaceX owns Bitcoin, I own Bitcoin, and we ain't selling. Nice to see that that is confirmed in the Q2 earnings report for Tesla. They also didn't buy any. They didn't sell any. They basically did nothing with Bitcoin in the last quarter, but this puts a whole lot of other potential FUD and rumors to bed. And finally, Amazon. No, we have no plans to accept Bitcoin payments. Speculation that has ensued around our specific plans for cryptocurrency is not true, spokesperson said. We talked about this yesterday. I wrote about it in the newsletter. I said, yeah, cool story, bro, but very unlikely it's untrue. Once again, an unnamed source, we don't even know what their job is or who they are, has said that Amazon is going to accept Bitcoin. Absolutely not the case. Nice to see some clarification here, even if it's not the clarification that we wanted. And Amazon went on to say that they are looking at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies closely for the future. That is all of the news that's driving markets. Please take a look at everything I've got going on in the description: Compass Mining, Femex, and of course my newsletter, which you can sign up for right down below. I will be live tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my weekly Chartapalooza. You guys should definitely check that out. Until then, peace.